that One Piece greatness! Oh, so I went last night and I saw the One Piece Stampede film, and it was epic. I can't put it any other way. It was flat out amazing. I would have loved to have seen this in a Japanese theater where, One Piece is everything. Just because I feel like in Japan, like the three most hyped films I've ever been to in America here is non-anime related. The first one is obviously Avengers Endgame. Yeah, without saying. The two anime films would be Dragon Ball Super Broly and Sword Art Online Ordinal Scale. Those are the three probably most hype crowd interactive movies I've ever been to in my entire life. But since One Piece isn't too big over here, didn't really get a lot of popping, which I feel like would have been insane in a Japanese theater. But that's just a personal tick for me. But man, oh man, if you were a hardcore One Piece fan, even if you're not a One Piece fan, or I want to say not One Piece fan, if you're not a One Piece fan, I want to go see the movie. But if you're not like well versed into the lore of One Piece or too into One Piece, you can still really enjoy this movie. If you like One Piece and you love Dragon Ball, you're gonna love this movie because this movie was like so much Dragon Ball vibe going on. It was just constant action. I freaking loved it. Um, if you thought some people would say, and rightfully so, that Dragon Ball Super Broly was fan service to hell and back. Not that it was bad, for a big movie like that, fan service is good, but that it was fan service to hell and back. This movie makes Dragon Ball Super Broly's fan service look like nothing. It was on another level of absurdity with the fan service, and I loved every single bit of it. It was, I don't want to quite say masterfully done, because there are a few nitpicks I have, but it was done incredibly well. Fantastic. Oh man, it's not the best anime film I've ever seen in theaters. Not even close. I mean, that to me is Spirited Away and A Silent Voice. But it is one of the most exciting that I've ever seen in a theater, even without the crowd interaction. It was just a ridiculous amount of nonstop fun. Now, I take that back. I forget the name of it, but it was the Mobile Suit Gundam movie that was a sequel to Unicorn. Hard pressed, I kind of put that as my number one theater anime film. But I digress. It was absurd amount of fun. But let's get into the actual review here. Okay, so as you know, it's a celebration of One Piece going on for 20 years or 20. I'm thinking One Piece has probably been going about 21 years now, but roughly 21 years. And that's in the like a low key, subtle mention in the movie where they're having this gigantic festival by this guy named Festa. And they say to celebrate 20 years of, I forget exactly what it was. Like I guess the 20 years of since Goldie Roger started his journey or something. I came in the theater a little bit late, so I was caught the tail end of the subtitles. But but clearly a subtle remark to One Piece being on air or in publication for 20 years. So that was really cool. Um, for the most part, the art and animation was well done. Like, I'm not an animation expert. There might be some cell 2D skip frame rate crap I don't know anything about. But as a casual moviegoer, I thought it looked fantastic. It was leaps and bounds better than the trash they gave us with Pokemon The Power of Us. That was trash on every level. This was very well done. I don't want to say it was quite on the level of Dragon Ball Super Broly because that was just an absurd amount of money went into that film. But when the CG was heavily applied in this film, it did look almost as good as the parts in Dragon Ball Super Broly. But the entire film, not quite as much. But it was still very pleasing to look at. Straw Hats coming up to the festival late as usual. You know, love it. Uh, I don't know the other guy's name, but he's working under Festa and he's doing the announcement. And it's a mention to Goldie Rogers saying that whoever wants the treasure or whatever, it's down deep below. And so this big whirlpool opens up when they start the festival. Or before I go there, I should mention, obviously, I don't know why I didn't put this at the beginning. My apologies. Spoilers! So, you've been warned. My apologies. But, big whirlpool opens up as soon as the festival starts. And they start getting sucked in. And then, then he makes a remark like, oh, maybe this is what I meant deep below. It's under the sea. And then they all get shifted up into the sky. And a giant island pops up into the freaking sky. With a giant spout of water shooting up in there, and it gets wrapped in a bubble. And then I was so getting Skypeified with this when they took the waterfall to the heavens. Because they all get on this giant water spire, and they're all shooting up and racing into the air on this turn of water to see who can get to the top of the island first. And it's really fun. Kid and them jump into first place, and then then it was Hawks Pirates, and Bonnie comes up in there. But then after a little while, Luffy and them activate their little Frankie machine, and they jump up in there, get first place, and then the I forget their names, but they're the 5,000 or whatever that started following Luffy after Dressrosa. They're all up in there with their little weird Luffy man pirate ship. It's wonderful. We get to see Trafficker Law in the beginning of the film. He's really beaten up. And then Smoker and the girl that's with him, I forget her name. Cute chick with glasses. But Smoker and her undercover. It was mentioned before the festival started that this was supposed to be completely secret from the government. So Smoker is here unofficially. Law sneaks into Luffy's ship after he gets chased down by Buggy, who's also here. So it's supposed to be secret from the government, but you have a vice admiral and a warlord. And there's lots of Buggy in this movie, and I love it because Buggy is my boy. And he is phenomenal on the big screen. Hilarious as hell. Fantastic! But yeah, Law sneaks onto the One Piece ship. Why did I say that? The Sunny. And tells them they need to get out of there. They're stubborn. They're like, no. And so they decide they're going to split up. So Sanji and Robin, Chopper, and Law take off. Because Law says there's something underground that they need to go look at to see what's really going on in the festival. And then, Zoro and the rest of them going up to the head of the island. So we'll get to the head of the island. Buggy and all the other pirates have made it up there. Nami spots the treasure at the far end, unusual looking chest. Tells him, hey, that's probably it. So everybody goes to a gigantic free-for-all battle royale. It like the Tournament of Power from Dragon Ball Super. It was freaking epic. Pirates fighting everybody. Hawks and Eustace, I think, at one point were throwing down. Zoro. Beige was in there, dude. It was great. Bonnie in there just turning Beige's guys to little brats. It was fantastic. And then Buggy winds up getting to the treasure first. He opens it, sees what it is, flips the fuck out, and then Luffy gets up there and hits him, knocks him down. He loses the treasure chest. Then there's another big free for all. Then the big man, Bullet, shows up. Oh wait, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. My bad. No. Yeah, he does show up. He causes a big crack, destroys the island, sends everybody flying. Buggy, Luffy, I think Kid, and a couple other pirates and Devil Fruit using their thing falling in sea. There's a big scramble to get all their crew members and shit out of the water so they don't die, obviously. Then it's a big showdown with all these big ass pirates, Uh, uh Buggy leaves. Buggy's gonna be Buggy. Usopp grabs the treasure, opens it, and finds out what's this. He's like, and then Bullet beats the hell out of him, and he's about to kill him, and Luffy jumps in, and then most of the lesser pirates have started to leave out, and then you got Bullet, and I don't remember exactly everybody that was there, but I know Luffy, Zoro, Nami, and Nami's back on the ship providing support. She didn't really have a lot of shine in this movie, which was a little bit of this, not nearly as relevant as she was in Gold, which is kind of disappointing. But Zoro, Luffy, Kid, Beige, Bonnie, Hawks, and a couple other decent pirates that were there, and they all go in on this guy Bullet, who I forget. Oh yeah, it was Buggy. Buggy said that he was on the Rogers crew back in the day, and that he was as strong as Rayleigh was, and you're like, what? Strong as Rayleigh? And he proved it. I mean, he whoops everybody's ass. Talking about Gear Force, Luffy getting pounded, Zoro getting pounded, Kid getting, and they're all coming in once, and they are getting slaughtered. Oh my god, it was epic. It was like when Broly was whooping ass, but dare I say, even more awesome. And he says a line, I don't remember it exactly, but he says something to the extent of, you need to lead your men, or something to that degree. But what was cool was that was when all the pirates were fighting with Luffy. Not necessarily they were teaming up at first, but they eventually had to. But it was a really cool, like, I think, a tidbit of foreshadowing to see, or to say that at the end of the big war that we got coming at the end of the series, there is going to be a threat so powerful that Luffy will become the Pirate King, because he is going to show everybody he's the leader the pirate world needs. I mean, I could be completely off base with that, but I think that's a bit of a little foreshadowing there, saying like, eventually Luffy is going to take charge of the pirate world and going to team up and make them team up to fight this grand evil. Could it be Rocks? Could it be Aim Sama? Something from the Void Century. I don't know. But I think that's just my personal opinion. But ass whooping continues. We cut over to the underground. We find out that this Festa guy is snuck all these people together because he's working, or I don't want to say he's technically working with the government, because he's actually, find out later, he's teamed up with Bullet. I don't know if you would say teamed up, but he's kind of working with Bullet, because Bullet is like, his old deal is that I'm the strongest. I want to beat all of you. Only one I could never beat was Roger, so I want to beat all of you and prove that I'm the world's strongest. But if you're supposed to be Pirate King, you have to come beat me. But it turns out that Festa is actually, at least from what I took from it, got all the pirates together so he could wipe them all out. And he also mentioned that he wanted to make this grand festival bigger than anything, even what Goldie Roger did with starting the Great Pirate Era, which he later admits, well, nothing will ever beat that. But he wanted to make this giant festival, but he also is using the government to call in a buster call so that he can, I'm assuming, just destroy all the pirates and stuff at one time. And we see, before all that happens, Big News Morgan and them on the little teleprompters down in his hideout, and it's just funny after seeing, because this is supposed to be, from my understanding, canon to the story to some degree. And what Big News Morgan has done in the manga in recent light of the Reverie and in other things, I just thought that was a really neat thing to see that Big News Morgan is still at it. We have this Festa dude. He's a snake. Sanji and them run into Smoker, have a showdown. Sanji's throwing down with Smoker while Law and them are on the run to try and tell Luffy what's going on. Now they figure out there's going to be a Buster Call. Then they run into Crocodile, and this is where the fan service begins, right? Okay. First you got Bucky. You got Law. You got Smoker. You got a villain that is as strong as Rayleigh was on the Gold D. Roger pirate crew. And you got him fighting all these other pirates. Okay, that's some pretty awesome fan service, right? Then you got Crocodile. I think I already said that. But you got Crocodile. And then Crocodile alludes to knowing a little bit about what's happening. So, Law and Robin, and Chopper, and Crocodile head on out. And then Sanji and Smoker are fighting, and then Sanji's like, you know, why are you here? Something to the degree of like, why are you here? You know, if you're about to be destroyed or whatever. Or I don't know if he mentions the Buster Call or if he hints at it. But, you know, Smoker's like, what you talk about? And then he gets a notice that that shit's hit the fan, and that there's a Navy fleet coming in, crap, and he doesn't know what's happened. So it's like, so yeah, Smoker's definitely here unofficially, you know. So he bounces out. Sanji gets back up there, you know. Like about to bullet, because at this point you got the Navy starting to pile in around the island. Bullet gets into his right before he gets to his ship. Him and Luffy have this showdown of Conqueror's Hockey. Dude, that Conqueror's Hockey was badass. I mean, he knocked out almost everybody that wasn't a high-level pirate there, just with his Conqueror's Hockey. And then Luffy just charges back up right at him. It gives me that vibes of Frieza versus Goku in the Namek Saga, the stare down. Ooh, buddy, it was badass, if I do say so myself. Now, Luffy's Hockey put up a good fight, but it was dwarfed in comparison to Bullet's Hockey. But Luffy stood his ground. This was before the ass whooping commenced. But, you know, stood his ground, had an impressive show, which I, again, go back to saying kind of alludes to my idea of the big threat at the end where he's going to unite the pirate crews with him. You know, I think this was kind of another foreshadowing to see how Luffy is going to badass he's going to be in that scene if that does happen. But anyways, ass whooping ensues. Then Bullet brings in his ship, and he's got another ability. He's said his Devil Fruit. I don't remember what his Devil Fruit does, actually. But he said it awakened. And he gets inside of his ship, and he has the ability to, like, absorb and meld with the matter around him to some degree. So this is where the CG comes in, but it's really... I never like to say CG is good. I despise CG. Very few things have good CG. But it was pretty solid CG. It wasn't bad by no means. It looked pretty good. But he turns into like this giant, hulking, gorilla beast-looking monster with like purple-looking crystals. If you've ever seen The Hobbit, it looks like those giants that are fighting in the mountains. But, you know, all purple and crystally. It's a bad description, I know. But it gets about the size of a gigantic mountain. Like, I think a good comparison would be he might have been a little bit taller than Zoe, the Elephant Nation, in my opinion. I could be a little bit off. I think he's about maybe a little bit taller than Zoe. And this is where shit hits the fan. Because at this point, the Navy's in. They're on the border fighting with the pirates. Smoker doesn't know what's happening. Fan service galore again. Okay, so you got this gigantic beast. Ain't nobody know what to do against them. They all go up there trying to fight. They're getting their ass whooped. Sanji is they're all running back. Sanji takes off because he sees somebody, which we'll get to in a minute. More fan service. But leaves Robin to I think it was Robin to go off while and Law is going back to the Sunny. Uh Luffy gets obliterated and Usopp is trying to carry him back down the mountain. Um Good character development in this movie for Usopp, with the exception of his oh, I suck, I can't do nothing. It's like, damn, Usopp, you've come such a long way, dude. Just shut the hell up with your crying. But there's good character development in for Usopp. So he starts shooting his little pellets or whatever, and you see one goes inside of Bullet's contraption. I don't know what you would call it, but gorilla machine man thing, which will play a big role for later down the fight. Then um, the fan service really begins. So you got the pirates fighting the Navy, and then some other pirates and people trying to fight this giant monstrosity. At the course in the fight, before the shit really hits the fan, Bullet says that the treasure inside the box that everybody saw earlier is the One Piece. And dude, that shit went wild. You can imagine. But turns out the guy that Sanji's going after, Lucci. Rob Lucci's here, Cypher Zero. What? Lucci! Alright. Want some more fan service? Zoro throws down with Fujitora! What? Fujitora versus Zoro? And it was an awesome fight. Oh, man, that was sick. I would love to see that fight later on down the road. Then, as that fight goes on, Fujitora bounces after a little while, leaves his little meteor trick. And then this so reminded me of Naruto the Last when Sasuke comes in, slices up the meteor in the movie. And you have Zoro using this secret three-sword style. And he cuts the boulder in half, or the meteor in half. But it's still about to hit everybody down below it. And then you just see somebody come in and destroy it all. It's freaking Mihawk! Mihawk! What? Mihawk, Buggy, Mihawk, Lucci. You're killing me, Oda. This is why we call you Goda. The GOAT. Goda the GOAT. Woo. And then Ghost Girl, I forget her name, but the one that used to be with Gecko Mordia. When I saw, I was like, Gecko Mordia gonna be here too. But sadly, no Mordia. That would have been awesome. Love me some Mordia. One interesting thing though, when all this is going down with the government invasion or the Navy invasion, is we see Puma fighting. I forget who he was going down with, but we see Puma fighting. And like I mentioned earlier, I was from what I understand that this is supposed to be canon to the main manga, but at the river we saw that I guess Puma wasn't dead, but Puma was being severely punished by the Celestial Dragons. So, and this is where it's going to get muddy. Because, like, the only way to make this, if it's going to be canon and make any sense, will be to happen after Wano. Period. Because a fight this grand happening between Whole Cake and Wano would just make no sense. But this has to happen after Wano. Unless they're just pieces of it that are canon. I don't know. But yeah, that was something I saw But again, more fan service. Puma. Who doesn't love Puma? Puma's a beast. Then Boa comes up in here like Boa Hancock. So you got Buggy, Puma, Mihawk, and who's the other warlord I'm forgetting? Boa, Puma, Mihawk. Were they? Oh, and Crocodile. No, he's not a warlord, is he? Sorry, I'm a bit rusty, but that was freaking awesome. Just like I said, fan service galore. Kobe shows up. Hina shows up. It was hype seeing those characters get some more shine. I wish I'd have done a little bit more with Kobe, but it's nice seeing him out there in the front lines of a big battle. Then we go off island and we see the gigantic jackass himself, Akino. Bullet makes a mention that the last time that he was defeated during the Buster Call was by the fleet admiral, which I'm assuming was Aokiji at the time. I might be wrong, but basically his whole spiel everything is he wants to cause a Buster Call so that he can destroy everybody around him during the Buster Call to prove that he's the strongest. And he does make a mention. He says, "After I destroy the Buster Call, you're next 4 emperors." I'll tell you right now, none of the Yonkos showed up, and that really disappointed me. Really disappointed. How badass would it have been to have the freaking Yonko show up? And it's already dramatically huge war. But at the very least, dude, Shanks. I mean, because you have a guy that used to be on the Jolly Rogers, comparable in strength to Rayleigh. What better reason you have to bring in Shanks than that? Oh my God! I know Otis protecting Shanks, he's keeping him a secret, but that was just being able to freaking lost it, dude. But I really wish that a Yonko or something would show up. That would have been pretty freaking insane. But it shows I forget. I know it shows Gart and then one other of the head admirals. I forget what his name is, but they're talking about what happened in the past where they had the Buster Call to destroy this guy and they wound up killing an entire island, and it gives like links to when they teamed up with Roger to defeat Rocks. And I'm not saying this guy's Rocks because he's not. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious. But it's just cool to see how it's not the only time when they team up with Roger. Now it's not the only time that they've had to do that in order to defeat a big threat, which I think just makes Rocks all the more credible if he actually is still somehow in existence. But Sengoku asks Aokino for a Buster Call. He grants it. Got 5 minutes to get off the island. This is one of the nitpicks I have with it. It's like, you got 5 minutes to get off the island. And by the time the Buster Call actually initiates, the fight's been going on for like almost 20 minutes, like literal movie time. So it's like Dragon Ball Super Tournament Power Time watching right there. But that's beside the point. This is where shit gets crazy though. You got the pirates all trying to get away and stuff, and the government's trying to arrest some of them, and the rest trying to get off the island for the before the Buster Call starts. And you got this giant hulking monstrosity. It comes down to Luffy, Boa, want to say Kid. Don't think that page was Luffy, Boa, Kid, Zoro, Law, Crocodile, Smoker, and at the final end, Buggy. But we'll get more to that later. If there's anybody I'm forgetting, I apologize, but I think that's all. But they all start throwing down with this dude, and I think it's big missed opportunity though not to have more. Like, just imagine how sick it would have been. Fujitora, Zoro, and all the people I just mentioned, and Fujitora, Lucci, um, Sengoku, let's throw in Colby, Hina, which pretty much anybody that's there that can throw down, all fighting this dude. That would have been sick. Because I felt like just the people that had fighting him was a bit underwhelming, all things considered. I mean, it was an epic show. It was badass as hell. But I mean, seeing how powerful he is, I felt like there should have been a little bit more unison with the government um, coming in and fighting it. Just because I felt like he's built up so high that how they defeated him was like somebody mentioned was like on here they felt like a cop out. It's like I kind of understand what you mean considering how much this guy was built up. But the other person I forgot for the fan service, Sabo! Sabo comes in, and I'll tell you right now, no, Dragon does not show up. If Dragon would have showed up, I would have lost it. Oh my god, that would have been incredible. That would have been a really good time to show what Dragon can do. But again, like Shanks, Oda's trying to protect him for now. But oh my god, that would have been amazing. But yeah, so Sabo is one of the other people that go up and fight this guy. And so Law uses his abilities, breaks some chinks into the guy bullets armament hockey, and they throw down for a little bit, damage a little bit. Nothing too much happens. They get beat up a little while. Law does it one more time. They all break through. Buggy somehow gets teleported back up in there too, and he gets in there, and they all get this one huge final attack. And right behind them comes Luffy in Gear 4 with I think he was using his big King Kong gun or whatever. Guma Guma. Goma no Kong. I don't know. But this is his really big special attack for Gear 4. Busts a big hole in armament hockey. He's falling, and I want to think him and Luffy throw a few more punches. The bullets pretty much at this point. He's like, oh man, he's like, a little bit stronger, you would have had me. And it looks like we're about to pull an Aizen, right? Then that thing I mentioned earlier with Usopp shooting that little pellet into his ship, it finally erupts and drags him down. And then Luffy comes in for the final blow, and that's how they defeat him. Like I said, that's good character development for Usopp, because that's got better days of God Usopp. But it's epic, but I feel like it could have been far grander. Anyways, I dragged this video on for way too long. Everything else that happens after that is they're able to convince Sengoku to call off the Buster's call. Crocodile and Lucci go after the One Piece, which it turns out to be not the One Piece, which I think we all probably figured out, but an eternal pose to the island of Raftel. Yeah. They're all after it. The government was there after it too, apparently, or at least some of them. Akino and them I don't think were, but Smoker and them I think was the reason why they were there. So yeah, there's a little scuffle. They all wanting it. Luffy breaks it. Typical Luffy, he's like, I don't want it. It's a shortcut to the One Piece. No, the journey is what makes it worth getting to. And so he destroys it. They go about their merry way, and the movie ends for the most part. Nothing else really crazy happens until the end credit scenes, and then we see Goldie Roger, And he's talking to one of his crewmen, and he's asking him why they put the location of Raftel into the Eternal Post. And he's like, oh, we need to come back. And Roger's like, no, our journey's over. We'll never come back. I was like, well, what if we need to come back? He's like, no, somebody else might need it. He's like, if so, whoever comes to take my place will not want to take the shortcut to get to the treasure. And so he throws it into the water. And then the other guy says something, and then he's like, I think it's something about who would ever take your place. He's like, my son. And, he said, you don't have a son. He's like, I will soon. And so you want to say Ace, but I don't feel like it can be Ace. Because Ace died forever ago. And why would Oda put... Like, Oda doesn't... We know this by now. Oda does not write stuff into One Piece like that for no reason. For shock treatment. He would not... I don't think Oda would drop a gigantic line like that for no reason. So are we saying that Roger has another son? I think that's something that's going to go around the One Piece community for a while. It's going to be pretty awesome to see. But I'm sorry, this video is far freaking too long. I'm probably going to upload another smaller condensed review to make up for this one being 30 freaking minutes long. But I got into it, man. That One Piece greatness! This is what it's about. Having fun, talking about the greatness of anime. But yeah. If you've seen the movie, let me know what you think. Theories, comments, ideas, anything. Just talk about it. I'm always happy to engage in a conversation about that One Piece greatness. I will see you in the next one.